sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. I thank you all so much for all the love and support you are showing me here with. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about what is going on right now with Asian community. So it happened that Asian communities, they actually bought into white supremacists, and they do not want to be with black people. And some of them will even tell you that I am more white than an Asian person. So it happened that white people do not also want them in their community. So it happened that some Asians are moving to moving to palm-colored community, and the palm-colored community are also stressed out that Asians are coming into their community. So when Asians come into their community or come into their schools, what they do is that they move away from that community or move away from that school. Why? Because they do not want to associate with Asians. And now this boils down to affirmative action. They thought they were dealing with black people, not knowing that they were dealing with themselves. Now look at what is going on also. They forget that these people have been using them from the onset. I don't know why they forget their own history so soon. And the palm color people have been using them as pawns all this while. And quite unfortunately that they are not even smart enough to know it. But I think they always feel like, yeah, we are better than black people because our skin color got us covered. Sincerely speaking, you are not white. Just get this into your skull. And you cannot be white. You are Asian. Let's get into this video.
According to a new study, white folks are afraid of Asian kids enrolling in their kids' schools because of the perception that their kids will not look as bright in comparison. The researchers looked at moving patterns in California and found that there is this definitive link between Asian families moving to a community and white families not only just switching schools, but moving out of the community altogether. After controlling for a lot of factors, they found that for every one Asian student that entered a school system, it resulted in 1.5 white kids moving away. And they found that the fact that Asian students, on average, perform better in education outcomes was the main driver of this behavior. It's not just California either. A writer found in 2017 in Johns Creek, a suburb of Atlanta, that as Asian folks were moving in, white people would move out because they believed that the schools were getting too competitive. This dovetails nicely in something I talked about a couple days ago, which is relative position. The idea that some people believe that a good is only good if they have more of it than their neighbors. If nothing else, this helps just put to rest this idea of the good school, at least in the white community, because a lot of times outcomes are used as a stand-in for being a good school. But what if it has more to do with relative position and homogeny? Study, white folks are afraid of Asian kids enrolling in their kids' schools.
Did y'all really think that people that would go out of their way to put people that they believe they are smarter than at a disadvantage would then be okay to let people that they believe are smarter than them succeed? The funny thing about white supremacy is only white can be supreme. Y'all have a good one.
According to a new study, white folks are afraid of Asian kids enrolling in their kids.
Hello, TikTok community. This is Erin Jones, Afro educator, coming to you on a Sunday afternoon. I am waiting for my friend Carcita, who is getting a big award up in Seattle today. So I'm going to ride with her because driving from the state capital to Seattle on a Sunday afternoon is like the worst. It's the worst day of the week to be heading north. So we're going to go together so we can get into the carpool lane. Late this morning, while I was working out, I was listening to TikTok videos, and I tend to, if I'm doing a walking workout, I'll do TikTok or a podcast. I did a little bit of both today and came across this video, and I just find it so interesting. So the premise of the video that I've stitched, please go back and watch it all, is that white families are moving out of neighborhoods where there is a significant influx of Asian families because they are concerned about the challenge that will be placed on their students because Asian students are outperforming their students. At first, I found it just incredibly ironic that, for me, having studied white flight here in Washington State, Seattle had like the biggest white flight during the busing era in Seattle public schools. More private schools were created in Seattle than in any other urban center, I think, in the United States at the time. It was just silly. Like, per capita, there were more private schools than anywhere else. Just something really silly. And y'all need to understand, there are not a lot of black people here. So the fact that folks were running and moving out to get away from those students is already laughable because there were so few of us, percentage-wise, numerically, so few of us. But now, to see across the nation that there are also white people fleeing Asian students, I guess several things I'm thinking right now. Number one, for all the people who say they don't see color and that we need to be colorblind, I mean, it's just not realistic. It's not realistic. People are looking at color for lots of really different reasons all the time. And so let's have some honest conversations about color, about race, about ethnicity, about culture. We've got to have some really critical conversations. I think it's important to talk about the fact that not all Asian groups perform the same in schools. And why is that? Who is coming from which countries? Who's coming here as a well-educated immigrant and who's coming as a refugee? Who's coming out of farm work from their Asian country, often Southeast Asia? Who is coming on some sort of fellowship or academic scholarship? Anyway, we got to be willing to have some honest conversations about that, because I think we're going to continue to see these strange dynamics of folks running because we're not willing to have the honest conversations. I also find it ironic that this is not in this video, but in another video, and maybe by the same creator, actually. I can't remember who created this video, but there is greater angst in the Asian community right now about their students getting into college this year after affirmative action was eliminated. So just how ironic is it that white people are running from Asian people and Asian people are afraid of not getting into college? Anyway, it's just rather ironic. And then, like, white folks, where are you going to run to? Like, at some point, we are going to be everywhere. We're going to be everywhere. Black folks and Asian folks are going to be everywhere. Where are you going to run to? I just want to invite us, again, back to, we've got to be having conversation, because without conversation, we're just going to continue to splinter. And the reality is, for all of us, regardless of our race, regardless of our history and culture, what we all want is for our young people to get the best education possible. That's what we all want. So let's do that thing. And that's going to require some really honest conversation. Okay, everybody. Krishita's here. Take care.
According to a new study, white folks are afraid of Asian kids enrolling in their
This is hilarious to me, because if you understand the psychology of white supremacy and you understand the insecurities that drive it, when you see white people moving out of school districts because an Asian kid moved in, is hilarious, because that says one thing and one thing only. Your white supremacy, because of the ideals or ideologies that you prescribe to, tell you that you as a white person are what? Oh, the best thing on earth, the best thing since sliced bread, you know? But then as soon as someone comes in from a different culture that you have some knowledge of or perceived knowledge of, and see that, just the existence as a threat to your like ideologies, just goes to show how fragile whiteness is. and white supremacy is, because as soon as something comes in contradicting it, they have to run away from it instead of, like most white supremacists do, doubling down and, maybe working harder to prove that, white people are, supreme. You just stick your tail between your legs, run away, and then just, point fingers. Like, come on. If you want to be a full-blown white supremacist, say it with your chest and, your work ethic. Or else I'm just going to assume all white supremacists are lazy, insecure, and just afraid of conflict. Even if there's no conflict, they just perceive everything as a possible conflict because they are that insecure in themselves. White supremacy is for weak, fragile white people that don't have culture.
According to a new study, white folks are afraid of Asian kids enrolling in their
So you should really check out that whole video. But it reminded me of the interview that I heard between Howard Bryant and Bomani Jones. And Mr. Bryant, who's a sports writer out of Boston, he asked Danny Ainge, who's a famous basketball player in the Boston legacy, well, how come more white kids, American white kids aren't going into basketball? It's particularly at the elite level, the NBA. And he said that there was two reasons. One, that, white families, generally speaking, have a lot of money. Therefore, they're able to do other things. Now, there's sports activities, baseball, soccer, swimming, etc. But the other thing was a lot of white families don't want their kids to be in the minority. And clearly, if you're going to play elite basketball, you're probably going to be in the minority at a lot of these camps. And that speaks to what the gentleman was speaking of as well, and that, once you get a certain percentage, there is this white flight, and, there's this cultural conditioning to have homogeny with respect to race. And that's a serious problem. That's something that we're going to have to overcome culturally, or else we're going to continue to have some of these intractable problems that we face in this society, particularly respect with opportunity and privilege and just quality of life.
So Asians, this is for you. If you're not an Asian person, please keep moving. Please keep scrolling. Okay, I'll wait. All right, I have a question for y'all. How are y'all feeling? Because now that you guys have managed to get affirmative action completely out of school decisions when it comes to picking their candidates, how are y'all doing? I really want to know. See, y'all didn't think this through, did y'all? Y'all blamed us for the reason y'all weren't getting into colleges instead of us just being more qualified than y'all. Y'all didn't really think about that. Like, how dare black people be more qualified than me? So I'm going to go to a white person and I'm going to get them to help me get affirmative action knocked down. And now that there is no affirmative action and y'all still worried about getting into a university, how are y'all doing? Because y'all forgot one main key. They used y'all dumbasses. They sure did. They managed to manipulate y'all into thinking that we were the problem instead of legacies. People that don't even have to have the grades, but just have to have the name to walk right through the door. Y'all thought we were wrong and we were the problem. And y'all just gave them more room to walk their little children right through the doors of Yale, right through the doors of Harvard, right through the doors of Brown, and leave y'all asses out in the cold. So I want to know, how does it feel? So Asians.
How can they do this to us? How can they do this to us? We've had their back.
What are you talking about? What's happening? What's the issue?
America had our backs. We had their backs. We told them affirmative action had to go because we weren't getting into the schools because of affirmative action.
So, what I told you was going to happen is happening.
How could we possibly know this was going to happen? There's no way we could have known. There was no clues. There's no way we could have known.
Oh no, it's the consequences of your actions.
Good morning. Remember when black people were like, oh, don't touch affirmative action. It doesn't just impact black people. Remember, laws that impacted black people trickled into impacting other communities of color. And affirmative action was one of them. Remember when we were talking about that last year? And then they gutted affirmative action on behalf of those who are from a community of color, but chose to side with white supremacy because they felt like since they weren't black, it wasn't going to impact them the same way. Remember that? Post-affirmative action, Asian American families are more stressed than ever about college admissions. There are communities of color who went to the Supreme Court who decided that what impacted black people would not impact them in the same way. And now they're in the messing around and finding out. Now, I've made several videos about the early Reconstruction period and how the Reconstruction Amendments came to be and how they impact communities of color today. Because of the fight for black people, other communities of color now benefit from those same amendments, those same laws that our ancestors fought for. And now your anti-blackness is kicking your ass. I'm just saying, at some point, people in this country, especially communities of color, are going to learn that when you decide that you are not like black people or you are better than those black people, understand that white supremacy doesn't care. Because there's going to always be a moment where they turn around and say, you are not white. You do not benefit. Just because you are not black, we hate them over there. But just so you know, we hate you too. Understand, there is real anti-blackness deeply rooted in this country. And when you decide as a person of color or a community of color that you want to disenfranchise black people because the majority culture makes it okay to disenfranchise black people, understand when they can no longer disenfranchise black people, they come after you next. All I'm saying is, stop messing around with black people, trying to disenfranchise us, knowing good and well you are next on the chopping block.
So this is all I got from this. You know, I talked about some certain things about them the last time I talked about affirmative actions and all that. And it's just amazing how, you know, some of them actually say they are white, you know, and they try to tell black people that they are like, you know, better than them, and try to like, you know, buy into white supremacy and all that. Sometimes forgetting that they are being used as pawn, like they have been using them. So if the same people you all support, because they support white supremacy, like Asians support white people a whole lot because they sometimes feel like they have advantage over black people because of their skin color. So for that reason, they want to buy into white supremacy. Are you all seeing what is going on right now? I mean, they don't even want to be with you. They don't want to associate with you people. They don't want to be around you people. Don't you get it? That they, you know, most Asians they don't want to be like, you know, they do not want to be in black community. They want to be associated with palm-colored people. So most of them tend to move towards white people or live where white people live. Now you all can see, the number one is that these people really knew how smart black people are, and they also know how okay Asians are. But it's just the Asians not understanding that these people have been like, you know, working them. Now they don't want to live where you live. They don't want to be in the same school as you are. They don't want to have you people around. Is that not good enough for you to know that these people have really been using us for something? Or who are you waiting for? Are you waiting for us to come and tell you that, man? But this is what they bought into. This is what Asians bought into. And they are seeing it unfold. And I am sure some of them are going to be like, if we had known, we would have listened to black people. But no. I am happy all these are unfolding, that they are saying it. They are They are all getting worked out. They are being stressed because some of them do not even want to, they just want to associate with that palm-colored supremacy and all that. And they are running it. See, the people that you all have been, Asians, the people that you all have been fighting for are running away from you. They don't want to be in the same school with you. They don't want to be in the same community with you. When you all move into their community, they run away because they don't want to be with you. They don't want you people around. So you all think they do not want black people. And so how are you even sure that they want you? You all already know that. They don't want minorities around them. And instead of you all to stick together, because yes, they know how powerful black people are. And then instead of the people of color, anyway, you all know black people do not buy into this POC kind of this thing and all that. But they are supposed to know that they are supposed to stop going around palm-colored people and look for a way to strengthen their relationship with black people to fight what is fighting them. They think it's only black people that they are fighting. But then let me tell you something. When you think it is all black people, they are going to fight black people. And when they are done fighting black people, now it is you people's turn. So I hope you all enjoy this turn, that it is your turn. So enjoy it. And when they are done with you people, they are going to trash you all away. I didn't know Asians not even supposed to know what happened in there. Like, don't they know their history? Don't you all know your history? That from the onset, they do not even want you people to be around them. That's why they give you all money to move to black communities so you all can rip black people off. You think they don't remember that they do not want you people? They still do not want you. Is that not obvious? I hope you all enjoy your new status. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.